Have you ever walked into an old house and felt like time just slowed down for a moment? You catch that familiar scent of polished wood, hear the steady tick of a vintage wall clock somewhere, and if you're lucky, maybe even the creak of a screen door that's been around forever. Homes back then weren't just buildings, they had character. They felt alive. They carried stories and memories in every corner, something you don't often find in newer houses. Even though we've got all sorts of modern conveniences now, there's something special about those little details that made those homes feel so warm and welcoming. So, let's take a quick trip down memory lane and revisit some features from your grandparents' homes that have mostly disappeared. 1. Milk chutes. Remember when fresh milk didn't come from the store, but was delivered right to your door? There was a little door on the side of the house, the milk chute, where the milkman would slip in your bottles from outside, and you'd grab them from the kitchen. It wasn't just about convenience, it was about knowing your neighbors, feeling safe, and trusting the community. Then bigger stores and better refrigerators came along, and those milkmen and their chutes quietly disappeared. 2. Pull-chain toilets. You couldn't miss those pull-chain toilets. The tank was way up high on the wall, and you'd flush by pulling a long chain. The noise was loud and kind of dramatic, a real performance just to flush the toilet. They had charm, but as time went on, quieter and sleeker toilets replaced them. 3. Pink tile bathrooms. Pink bathrooms were all the rage in the 1950s. Thanks to First Lady Mamie Eisenhower's love of pink, sinks, tubs, and toilets all came in that soft rosy shade. They felt bright, fresh, and hopeful, like a fresh start after hard times. But by the 1980s, people had switched to neutral colors and ripped out the pink tiles. Interestingly, now some folks are bringing that retro look back. 4. Intercoms and wall radios. Before smartphones and smart speakers, homes had built-in intercoms and radios. You could press a button to talk to someone upstairs or listen to the same radio station throughout the house. Back then, it felt like the future. But when cordless phones and smartphones took over, those features quickly fell out of use. 5. Laundry chutes. Laundry chutes were pure magic. Toss your dirty clothes in a little door upstairs, and they'd slide right down to the laundry room. For kids, it was like a secret tunnel. For parents, it saved a lot of trips up and down the stairs. But with new building rules and modern home designs, laundry chutes have become pretty rare. 6. Root cellars. Before refrigerators were everywhere, people stored food underground in root cellars. These cool, dark, dry spots were perfect for potatoes, canned goods, and sometimes meat. They were practical and a little mysterious, with some doubling as storm shelters. But as refrigerators became common and yards shrank, root cellars mostly disappeared. 7. Telephone niches. Phones used to have their own little corners. In the hallway, there was often a small nook with a shelf and maybe a seat just for the rotary phone. That was where families had their conversations, shared secrets, and caught up with friends. Now, with phones in our pockets, those cozy spots are gone, along with that quiet focus. 8. Grandfather and mantle clocks. You didn't check your phone for the time, you listened for the clock. Grandfather clocks stood tall in hallways, and mantle clocks chimed softly on fireplaces. They weren't just timekeepers, they were part of the home's rhythm, often passed down through generations. Today, you rarely hear that steady tick-tock, replaced by silent digital clocks everywhere. 9. Glass fuse boxes. Before breaker panels, homes had glass fuses that twisted in like light bulbs. If the power went out, you'd grab a flashlight and change the fuse yourself. Everyone kept spares handy. They were simple but not the safest. Now breakers are standard, and most people haven't even seen those old fuse boxes. 10. Transom windows.